Hi friends, and welcome to the Shai Show. Jumping right into this week's Parsha, Parshas Mishpatim, and it stood out to me was right away when our Parsha opens up by saying Lifneihem, that this Mishpatim, these judgments, are Lifneihem, before them. So what does before them mean? So one understanding is from the Talmud that teaches us that before them means that when two Jews have some sort of issue, litigation, that they, even if the same law exists in a non-Jewish court, they shouldn't go to the non-Jewish court. Rather, they should go to the Jewish court to litigate. So before them, meaning the Jewish judges. It's interesting that in the area of New York that I'm at, that one of the first questions when a judge at the local court here sees two Jews in a litigation is they ask him, did you go to Jewish court? And if so, what did they say?
So
my
cool.
understanding of why they're asking, my understanding is that they have a deep respect for the process and for the
thoroughness
of the Jewish court. A second reason that is brought also from a Gemara, from a Talmud, but in a different place, that teaches us that Lifneihem, meaning that when you have a Torah teacher who's teaching their students, that they should make it Lifneihem, that the law should be so clear and so tangible that it's really before them. They could really grab onto it with great understanding. So they should understand. Also, we also learn that that Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak of Lubavitch teaches us that it could also be a slippery slope. If somebody comes to rely on their own reason and only on their own reasoning, then that could lead to something called a justification. So he warns us on the Gemara that says, for first, usually an evil inclination tells us one day to do this little thing and the next day another little thing. The idea being that if we're left to our own justifications, that it could lead to a place we don't want to go. I don't think anybody wakes up one day as a bank robber. I'd imagine it usually starts with taking pencils from work. I'm not saying you're taking pencils from work, you're going to be a bank robber, but that is the path where it starts with little things and the pencil are justified and a little more is justified and just the coffee and just, I don't know, you could...
Let's hope no one here steals anything.
But none of you guys. I'm just saying, for those who may have heard that there was once, in case that happened. Chas v'shalom, God forbid. So we should, but at the same time, we're saying that we should understand, like we were saying before. Yes, we should understand. We should venture to understand the reasoning. We could still have the backdrop of an understanding that ultimately that it is Hashem who has my greatest good in mind for whatever mitzvahs, for whatever is being asked of me. And also part of the warning is that we should consult the rabbis who spend and invest their entire lives to understanding what it is that is trying to be communicated. But also at the same time, if a person says that, I'm sure the rabbis have a good reason, I don't need to go study this, this is also not correct. So before, when we were saying, for example, when a teacher of Torah is teaching a student, and it should be before them, they should have great understanding. It should be with a kind of great understanding that it shouldn't be some sort of tradition that they're just taking on because it's a tradition, and that it shouldn't be some sort of dogma that ultimately their karma is going to run over. So here we're saying that when we are learning, that we have the understanding that the backdrop is that is our greatest good is in mind, and we should consult when it comes ultimately to making these final decisions. At the same time, we're also saying that we should do it with understanding, and this understanding is, like we were saying before, is that I have an audience here. That we were saying before that this.
When you have a relationship with someone, you want to know why they do things because it gives you a deeper understanding into them and how they work, and you become a part of that.
So when a person's saying the rabbis have a good reason and we're not understanding, it's as though that the relationship aspect is being rejected. How can you how are we supposed to truly love somebody if we're not communicating that we're truly interested in knowing how they or why they tick? The understanding being that when there's someone in our life that we love and we care about, we want to know more about them. We want to know everything about them. We want to know all the details about them. And even if we can never really truly learn all the details about any single individual, our mission and our efforts are to try to understand it, even if we don't totally get there, because the more we know somebody, the more we can love them. And if we're just saying that we're gonna go do whatever it is that other person asks of us, that is definitely a sign and recognition of caring, but it's also a sign of not really caring, because you're not really interested in them or why they're about.
It's just the mission, not like them. You're on a mission, you're just doing what they ask, but it's not because of who they are. Anyone could have asked you to do that. But if you know why they're doing it, there's more of a connection between you and the person who's asking, rather than you and just the task that's being asked. If that makes sense.
I hear, when somebody, I guess what I'm saying is that I almost say that in a way, I think that maybe there's part of the who, meaning that if somebody asks, a relationship that a person potentially might have, that they were afraid of the big God, so let me just go do the mitzvahs so the big God doesn't get angry at me. But as far as the actual whys and the understanding and the development of the loving relationship, that might be there, because maybe what they're saying is, let me just go do, again, what he does, and after I know that the big God is not going to be angry at me, I can go do what it is that I really want to be doing, whatever that might be. I also here, I think. I need to understand the why of. I do. I really do. So we should pursue to understand these details, and it's brought in the Guide to Perplexed by the Rambam. The Sefer, almost as hard it is to say, and in this. Oh my goodness, did he just say more in Nevuchim? Did he just say Guide to the Perplexed? Everyone who says Guide to the Perplexed, where that's headed. Sometimes I actually feel that that part of my personal life is to re-enliven the Rambam Sefer from a constant misquoting. Well, maybe part of it anyway. Nonetheless, he speaks about this idea that we can understand the general ideas of the mitzvah, but the actual details, ultimately there's going to be details that we're just not going to understand the why of. So the more we learn, eventually we're going to bring to this point of not knowing. And if only we could have an example from quantum physics.
Let me guess, we do.
luckily there is one. So it seems that the smaller we go, the more detailed we get within the world, as an analogy, the more detailed we get within the world of quantum physics, the more tinier the particles that eventually reach a point of uncertainty, where the science of quantum physics itself grabs onto the concept of uncertainty, the uncertainty principle, as part of the science. That's amazing to me. It doesn't mean we should stop studying quantum physics and trying to understand its context and how it operates, and creating theories and utilizing these levels of uncertainty, and not continuing ones, and not going for a PhD at Stanford in superconductivity, right, Nachum? And it's so clear, but it's part and parcel of it, and that's amazing to me that you continue to learn, you continue to operate, continue to get close to the physics of this world, and yet uncertainty is part of it. And maybe that's what the Rambam is saying, is that the more detailed we get on the why of the mitzvahs, or the why of another person, and as close as we're getting to them, ultimately there's going to be some level of uncertainty, but it doesn't take away the foundation of the relationship, our desire to learn, and what it all leads to, which is about a relationship. The more we know, what I'm saying is, the more we study, the more we read, the more we know, the more we can develop this relationship, whether it's with Hashem or the people in our life. Getting to know them, getting to know all about them.
That came to my mind, but I couldn't sing it.
I know it's going to be. I know it's going to be a great Shabbos. Please let us take Take time to enjoy Chal, recognize the goodness, take time to study Torah, to maybe study this week's Parsha, and take in what the message is that Hashem, and to add depth to our relationship. Please, if you have any questions or comments, leave in the space below. Feel free to click the subscribe button so you can get an email knowing when the next video is coming out. It's going to be a great Shabbos, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.